Known as the Ancient City, St. Augustine was founded over 450 years ago. Today's visitors experience cobblestone streets, quaint cafes, and unique shops as they were in 1723. To fully understand the significance of St. Augustine, we step back 700 years before its founding. While early explorers had no idea what was beyond the horizon, today we can only imagine what lies beyond the stars. Just as today's explorers have no idea what amazing worlds await, early explorers had no idea what an extraordinary continent they would encounter. The first Europeans to settle in North America were the Vikings in 985. That colony failed in 1360. In 1493, Columbus established a colony in the Bahamas. It failed in 1498. After Ponce de Leon became the first European to set foot in what is now Florida, the Spanish founded St. Augustine, the first successful European colony. Founded in 1565, it is the oldest continuously occupied settlement within the borders of the United States. In 1965, the city began restoration of the significant but run-down parts of the historic Old City. Perhaps the best example is Fort Marion. Built in 1672, it is the oldest masonry fort in the United States. It was transferred to the National Park Service in 1933. At various times in its history, it was held by the Spanish, the British, and in 1819, the United States. Native American prisoners were held at the fort after the Indian Wars, including Geronimo's band of Apache. Many activities and demonstrations help young and old experience what daily life in the fort was like. Early Spanish artillery were works of art. The bronze cannons were very ornately detailed. At the muzzle of the gun was a banner bearing the cannon's name. Next is the royal coat of arms and the city where it was made. A short distance from the fort is the historic district. The city began to take its present form in 1590, well before the founding of Jamestown or the landing of the Pilgrims. Many of the buildings date back to the 1700s. By the late 1950s, the most important had fallen into a state of decay. Realizing that these significant historical sites are essential to our identity as a nation and worthy of preservation for future generations, steps were taken to reverse this decline. Historical building facades were maintained while opening up the interiors to cafes and shops. Even the streets are laid out as they were centuries ago. This is St. George Street, the centerpiece of the historic district. Pedestrians can stroll with no car or even bicycle traffic. Boutiques, galleries, and gift shops are tucked into cubbyhole-sized storefronts. Local seafood and fine French restaurants are available. In 1565, a Catholic parish was established in St. Augustine. It is the oldest continuous Christian congregation in the United States. The Cathedral of St. Augustine, built in 1793, has been beautifully restored. America's Gilded Age brought new life to the city. In the late 19th century, many lavish hotels were built to attract the wealthy during the cold northeast winters. In order to keep the resorts filled, hotel owners built a railroad to St. Augustine. The coaches were designed to meet the expectations of the wealthy. The city welcomed visitors from the north escaping those long winter months. St. Augustine became known as the American Riviera. The Alcazar Hotel was constructed in 1887. It had 300 guest rooms surrounding a large courtyard. More than 25,000 guests visited the Alcazar during the winter months. The hotel had a steam room, massage parlor, sulfur baths, gymnasium, and a 3-story ballroom. The large interior atrium, now the Alcazar Cafe, was converted from the world's largest indoor swimming pool. Today, the hotel houses the Leitner Museum of Victorian Collectibles. During the Great Depression, millionaires were forced to auction their estates to pay taxes. Chicago publisher Otto Leitner was able to purchase entire collections of Gilded Age art. In 1947, he purchased the Alcazar Hotel to showcase his extensive archives. With more than 20,000 pieces on display, the variety seems endless. Before the disc record player became available, mechanical music makers were popular in homes and small dance halls. The Leitner Museum has dozens on display, many of which can be demonstrated. One rare player reads a punched book rather than a roll. Directly across the street from the Alcazar is the Hotel Ponce de Leon. Opened in 1888, it boasted 540 elegant rooms. Built by the founder of Standard Oil, it was designed for the most wealthy of northern millionaires. No expense was spared. It was among the first buildings to have electric light. The system was installed by Edison himself. The interior was designed by the Tiffany Company. Since visitors would stay for several months, recreational activities were plentiful. The hotel welcomed its last guests in the late 1920s. In 1968, it was given new life when it opened as a college named after the hotel builder, Henry Flagler. The entire exterior and several interior rooms have been restored as they were at the height of the Gilded Age. Hotel Ponce de Leon is considered one of the finest examples of Spanish Renaissance architecture and was one of the most exclusive resorts of its day. The grand lobby has a 68-foot high ceiling supported by 8 hand-carved oak pillars. The dining room was a center of socializing and entertainment in the Gilded Age and was expected to dazzle guests with its elegance. The Ponce de Leon was not an exception. The ceiling and walls of the dining hall are adorned with hand-painted murals. Many contain flakes of real gold. 79 priceless Tiffany stained glass windows have been restored to their original brilliance. The fully restored Grand Parlor showcases pieces from the original hotel. These include handcrafted Austrian crystal chandeliers and a rare white onyx clock. Much of the hotel's fine furniture and art are also on display. Many items of men and women's formal wear illustrate the elegance of the Victorian era. In the evening, the historic district is alive with shoppers and diners. During the holiday season, 3 million lights adorn many historic buildings in America's oldest city.